How are you? Welcome back. Now it has been something like 15 videos and 5 weeks since I did anything whatsoever on the project bike. So without further ado or much chitter chatter, let's get stuck into it and do a little bit more. Welcome back to Delboy's Garage. Right, this is the last thing I did. I covered this in an entire tin of filler, this whole thing, ready to be rubbed down. And that's the next kind of thing that I suppose I could do. It weighs a ton now, so that's got to be rubbed off, most of that. But that's the way with filler, you chuck it all on, then rub it all off, make it into dust. So that's, as you can see, in a right old state. Unless you're looking for abstract artex, which I'm not. So but because that's going to create shed loads of dust, massive amount of dust, all airborne, I'm not going to do that now. I'll tell you why. What I've done, because I don't want to get all of this absolutely smothered in an inch thick layer of dust, I've ordered a certain tool which will deal with that. Now, it's not because I'm being prissy or precious. Ultimately, this is for work and I will get it dirty and it will get battered and damaged, it will get used. It's just a garage, it's not an art studio. So ultimately, I will be getting it dirty, but filler sanding is just about as bad as it gets. It's a bit like grinding. I'm going to be doing the grinding under different circumstances as well. I'm going to try and keep this workshop in as good a sort of a semblance of order as I can. So I've ordered a sander, a palm sander, like a DA sander that has dust extraction. It's a really cool tool. It's going to keep the dust down in here incredibly. I found this out because in the clear up for this refit, I found sometimes an inch of dust in the corners and right back in the corners of the workshop. Now that's all right, you just sweep it out, but a certain amount of that always remains airborne and there's a health issue there. So I will be dealing with permanent dust extraction in the future when I can afford it. It is no small investment, and thank you to all of you that have sent us links to things that I can use as dust extraction and so on. And yes, I can buy filters and big fans and whatnot, but there's a better solution and I will be dealing with that in the near future. But for now, I'm just looking at this tool. It's amazing. That hasn't arrived yet. It hasn't got here. It's going to take probably another 4 or 5 days to get here, so I'll do that in the next video. I want to get that knocked down and get some more filler on it. I've got plenty of the stuff now, so that's just got to be done. That when time comes. But for now, remember this, hands up at the back. You'll remember this. Now I did this, I kind of formed that all by hand with a hammer and dollies and whatnot, and all the curve over there, that lovely little lipped edge. And since doing that, I've spoken with a buddy of mine who does upholstery, and he's going to do the upholstery on that for me. But before that can happen, this is the job for today. I just want to get that made looking a little bit better. Okay, the welds, the tack welds on that thin sheet metal are ugly as pig, and they're going to have to be cleaned up. So I'm going to put some filler in those today. I'm going to block up these holes in the end so that they're blocked off, because that looks a bit crap, and also that's going to hold water and then rot, so that's also got to be cleared up. And then once the underneath of that is all clean, I can spray it over with some primer and then get it off to the upholsterer. That's as simple as that. So let's get stuck in and stop talking. point is just going to kind of take stock. Been rubbing down for about, let's have a look, clock. About an hour or so is rubbing down. It's about how long it takes each layer, and you rub most of it off. There we go. Now this isn't going to get seen. This is going to be that way up. You're never going to see underneath there. It's going to be, what is it, a 10mm or even maybe half an inch at the most off the surface of the actual seat unit. So you're not going to see underneath there at all. It's just going to give a shadow. So it's going to just sit above it and look like it's floating. That's the kind of general idea. So visually, nothing under there is going to get seen whatsoever. It was really a case of securing all that weld material underneath some sort of filler. Also at the same time, this lip edge, where I planished that edge over and I made this rounded edge all the way around for smoothness, obviously kind of a cut edge. So I rounded it off, but there was a point where it was there and it stopped. So the cut edge that was pointing that way was just kind of pointing that way. So it was still a sharp edge. And because there's a gap, you know, if me or anyone puts their fingers underneath there, there's no need for a sharp edge, that's just rubbish. So all that is round there is a layer of filler to fill in that sharp edge. So effectively it's just not there anymore. It's just a thick edge. And that's another good thing, because it feels now, if you sort of see that on the seat unit, floating, you know, looking cool. People might stick their finger on and feel that, and it feels like it's about 3mm thick. So that feels like a really thick metal plate, which is pretty cool, rather than just thin tin. Anyway, there we go. So before I put any more in, I might put a little bit more in, just to smooth off these low areas in there, you know, just to make that smooth across. Because in the back, I don't know, whatever, like I'm saying in one breath, that it's not going to get seen, so it doesn't matter, and in the other I want to finish it better. But that's kind of your own attention to detail. That's what you want, that's your standard. If you're building a bike yourself, what standard you settle for is up to you. And I'm not quite ready to settle for that, so I'm going to put a tiny bit more in, but so I know where it is, I'm going to put a guide coat over that, because at the moment it's just a mess. So I'm going to mask up the threads and just blow a quick single layer of primer over that, and that will show me far more than I can see at this point, and where I might need to add a little bit, where the low spots are and whatnot. See what I mean? Ready to paint now, but as it's never going to be seen, I just want a textured finish under there, something that's just tough and will last forever and don't have any bed liner. So I'm going to make something a bit fun, just for the fun of it. Show you what I've got. This is metal filings from grinding. Whenever I do grinding and stuff, I always sweep up everything off the floor and I keep it in a tin. And every now and again you sieve it out, get all the bits of snipped off MIG wire out of it and drilled out rivets off it and everything. And just the iron filings only. You then put them into water, stir them around so they're like a soup. And then you use a magnet, you sweep the magnet through the liquid and it just picks up the metal alone. So that is purely metal filings. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. Now this purely is just stupid. This build is about experimenting with different things, pushing myself down avenues I've never been and learning stuff that may or may not work, just experimenting. So I'm basically going to lay up some primer and when it's still wet, sprinkle in some metal filings. Here's what I made earlier, and then hopefully make a textured finish that is nice and tough, hides all the little ripples that are there, and will just be great, just looks cool. And if I've done that and it doesn't work, it doesn't matter because it's not really going to be seen. If it does work, then I've learned a new thing today, and so have you. So let's get stuck in and see if we can make a mess.
Attention to the thorns, oh, they're in my hands. I'm thinking back on the year. I never thought I would ever make one of those millions, always trying for your sympathy.
Okay, well there we are, that's it. Okay, the new garage back on the build at long last. Sorry for those of you who've been waiting for this. I know that you probably weren't that massively interested in Harley servicing videos, but I wanted to get that done for a long time, and it was a perfect opportunity to fit it in. So thanks for your support on the garage refit. This is done now. I'll just work with this and modify it as I need to, and as far as other stuff, you'll see when the time comes. But what I wanted to do today was get back on the build, do something meaningful to the project bike, so that at least I'm back in with it. And that's great. Having done this today, even though it's a bit of a daft thing, it feels great. It feels absolutely great to have done something creative on the fighter build when it's been 5 weeks not touching it. That really does make a difference. I love that. I'm really happy about this. And this is it. I don't know, textured finish. Let's give you a close look. There it is. Kind of textured finish. Kind of like that. Very happy with that. Nice and even. Ended up, it's about, I don't know, probably a teaspoonful of iron filings, if that. Really, it's only a sprinkle. You saw it happen, and probably half a tin of paint. When the paint dries, it's going to shrink back and sink, and then this could become rougher than I want it to be. If that's the case, a couple more coats of paint, job done. That's not an issue, and I won't probably bother with putting that on camera. That is that done now. Then that side of it can go away to an upholsterer to be done. I've got a friend of mine who does upholstery, leather work, hand-tooled leather. I want that kind of thing. Don't know what we're going to have no idea. Have some ideas, let's correct that. Have some ideas, but they're probably cockeyed. But he's an artist, he's a leather artist, and he's going to make something rather special for me. I know he is, and I need to let him be creative. Very much like Mackie Bass with the artwork when he does the actual bike itself. If you don't allow these artistic people to be creative and create their own idea and their own interpretation of what is cool and what the bike needs, then really you might as well do it yourself. And I don't have that talent. I don't even have the talent to conceive that kind of thing, let alone to do it. So I'm going to leave it to artistic people who can. Me, I'm just a spanner monkey. I can put things together and fabricate stuff. That's it. I leave the artistic stuff to the clever people. That is a little bit of fun and games. It was a little experiment. Don't know where. I might never do it again. I don't know. But iron filings, you can make textured paint work out of anything. You can use anything you like. Sugar, done that before. Peas, chickpeas, anything you want. You can make textured finishes with spray paints. It's pretty cool if you want to do something artistic on a bike. And I learned this kind of thing when I was 17 years old. I had an old Ford Capri and the seals were rotting out. They were a little bit rusty on the outside, so we painted it with a bitumen paint and sand, and it was just a couple of strokes of paint and blow the sand on it and paint that in. And I learned that when I was 17, and that is a very, very long time ago. Right, I'm going to update the board because the board is well out of date now. 5 weeks without touching it, so you'll see how many hours it is so far. I've got to work it out in a minute. And then that is us back on the build with a vengeance. So thank you for all your support. Thank you for your patience, those of you following the build. We're back on it now. The next one on the build is going to be tail unit. I've got that cool sander coming that's going to be able to just sand that back end down no time at all. I've got loads of filler, so I'm going to make, hopefully in the next video, I'm going to be able to get a coat of primer, finished primer on that tail unit, which will be a really big step forward. Okay, there we go. Thanks for watching. Take it easy, ride safe. See you next time.